Hello and welcome to the broadcast. This is Carmen Andrea Harris of redefiningwidowhood.com. I'm a certified grief counselor, certified life coach, and also certified in inner healing. I help women find and create a pathway for joy after loss. I also offer counseling services for children and families. So, in today's broadcast, and if you all have been following the broadcast, we are on day number 19. I actually challenged myself with the help of my accountability partner who I I check in with every single day. I challenged myself 19 days ago to a 21 day. It was supposed to be a video challenge, but then I remembered about StreamYard and how I could do a voice recording video, which just flows a bit better for me in this season. That way I can get my message out. I don't have to be caught up about vanity metrics, having to look a certain way or look presentable. You guys can hear my voice and get the message. So I am on day 19. This is number 19 of the broadcast podcast type videos. And we have we have 2 more days to go because this is a 21-day personal challenge for me. I didn't want to say that at the beginning, but we are at the home stretch. So, in today's broadcast, we're going to be talking about, or the topic is, will you begin to live or simply exist? So, the majority of people walking around are just existing. Okay. When you look around at people who are in their 60s, in their 50s, even in their 40s, and some in their 30s, which the millennial generation, they're a lot different than I'll say how my generation, 80s babies, were raised or taught. I will say the millennials are like, there's a surge of entrepreneurship, there's a surge of them just seeking out healing and making sure that they're not sitting in the trauma that may have been passed down from generation to generation. And I think my generation is similar because I'm 43 and I have a sister cousin. My cousin, we're 6 months apart. And we're both on a journey of just healing. She's not a widow like me, but we're both on a journey of healing and recognizing childhood traumas and just dysfunctional patterns that were passed down to us through the generations, specifically from our mothers, and just making a conscious decision to not do the same things, to do inner healing, to do counseling, to be aware and intentional. So, with the exception of people who are on that journey, the majority of people are walking around. And I would say this well before I even became widowed. Like, a lot of people are literally the walking dead. Like, they're walking around, but they're dead inside. They're waking up, going through the same routine morning after morning, going to a job that they hate because they have to pay their bills. And I definitely understand, having to survive, having to live, but going through that cycle and then encouraging their children, you have to go to college so you can get a good job. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do after that, getting a good job? And I think now with my generation and with the generations that come after me, we're awakening to the fact that the Lord did not just put us on this earth to go to college, get in line with society and their norms, to get a job and, go to college, get a job, and go through the same routine cycle of waking up, going to your job, dropping your kids off to school, them being at school all day, after school care, you going to work, picking them up, rushing to get some type of dinner, having to go through homework, rushing so they can take a shower, a bath, and get wound down for the evening, only to wake up and to do it again 5 out of 7 days a week. Now, if this is the lifestyle that you're living, please understand that I am not judging you at all. Okay. Because there are seasons and times, and when people, you have to do what you have to do. But I'm just thinking holistically, the bigger picture. I know that the God that I serve, the God that created me with intention, did not create me just so that I could go to college, get a degree that is not even worth the paper that is written on right now, and get a good job and send my kids to school and go through this repetitive cycle, this robotic cycle, this dead cycle, day in and day out. So, factoring in that the majority of people who have not even experienced the type of death loss, the type of trauma that some of you may have experienced, like me. I experienced stack trauma after my husband died, meaning that there were multiple traumatic events that occurred after he died, starting with the eviction notice that was on our door the day after he died. So, factoring in that the majority of people have not even experienced the type of death loss that we have experienced, it just makes you reflect and wonder, like, okay, if the average person in society is simply existing, going through the same repetitive cycle day in and day out because they just don't have the energy to do anything different, I understand on a deeper level how that can be even more true for widows who have experienced a death loss and a trauma that is an additional weight onto just the daily struggles of life. So, all of that being said, it can be super duper easy just living in this world, experiencing life, because life be lifing, and then to experience a death loss and a trauma that is just so debilitating and just gut wrenching, to where it literally knocks you down and you're fighting to rebuild your life. You're fighting to rediscover who this new woman is, because you are not the same person, and just trying to get your bearings to even get up and fight the good fight of faith, let alone to live and not just simply exist. So I understand that it can be extremely hard, and you may not even have a desire to do anything except exist. But I come to tell you today that despite everything that you have been through, despite what you may be going through now, you can make a decision to begin to live. And when I say begin to live, I mean awakening to a deeper purpose within you, knowing that you are a daughter of the Most High God, knowing that what you went through was not meant to destroy you, understanding that, and this is for my believers, understanding that with the death of your husband, that the enemy was indeed trying to take you out and take over your mind and make you quit and make you feel as if you died with your husband and make you feel like you wanted to stay in that grave with him. But I am calling you out of that grave, and I am charging you to begin to live. Okay. God still has a purpose for your life. In fact, I want to say that God has a greater purpose upon your life, because he has allowed you to experience the death of a husband. He has allowed you to experience something that many will never experience. And even after experiencing that, he has allowed you to experience the different things that friends and family may say that are just utterly disgusting and insensitive, and that tear you down even more when you are trying to get up and fighting to get up and receiving the majority of your encouragement and your safe space from complete strangers. Okay, so let's be clear that the enemy did try to take you out, maybe not physically, maybe not literally, but in your mind and in your will to live and your will to win, when he allowed for your husband to die. Okay. But I come to tell you again that you can get up, you can pick up your bed and walk, you can get out of the grave with your husband, and you can begin to live again. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not. Will you always feel like getting up and fighting the good fight of faith and pressing forward and living instead of existing? No, you won't. However, you have to find something deep within you, the will to win, the fight, the audacity to get back up, to pick yourself up, and to keep going, no matter how many times you have to pause to catch your breath, no matter how many times you think you've healed, more than you really have, and you have to seemingly refocus your gaze so you can begin to heal again. Okay, no matter how many times you have gotten to a place where you're seemingly stabilized, and then somebody says something out the blue to you that is just completely ignorant and insensitive, and you have to make a decision if you're going to respond or if you're going to react. So allow me to just encourage you, to let you know that yes, it is so much easier to simply exist. But if you are under the sound of my voice, if you feel the least bit connected to me, if you resonate with any of my content, if you know that God led you to this page, if you know that you are supposed to work with me in a counseling and coaching capacity, I want to encourage you to begin to live and to stop existing. Okay? You're going to do this by putting one foot in front of the other, one step at a time, one moment at a time. Okay? So I just wanted to get on here and to encourage you today. I don't know where you're at on your journey. Some of you have only been widowed for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. This message is not necessarily for you, because in those beginning stages, where like that first year for me, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but the first year for me, it was like I was living in a parallel universe. I was living in the twilight zone. So the first year is just like me just literally being carried along by the grace and the glory of God. And I thank God for allowing me to keep my right mind after everything that I went through. But even during that first year, when I didn't know if I was coming or going, when I didn't know up from down, when I didn't know what was going on with my life because the bottom had fell out of it, I had an inner resilience and an inner knowing that I was going to pick up my bed and walk, and I was going to make a decision to live. But that is a continual decision that you will have to make, because even 5 years in the game of widowhood, I still have to make conscious decisions. I still have to make a decision to not just simply exist, but to live. I still am on a journey of redefining my identity and rediscovering who I am in new seasons. But I stand today letting you know that if I have done it, if I am doing it, that you can do it too. And if you feel like all hope is lost, or if you feel like, Carmen, I want to do it, but I don't know where to begin, I want to invite you to schedule a counseling call with me, because the one thing about this walk, I mean, just living everyday normal life, like, we all need therapy and counseling, but factor in the death of a husband and you completely having to rediscover your identity, you need some type of therapy or counseling as well. Okay. If you are wanting to thrive and live again and not simply exist. If you are wanting to repurpose your pain and not let it go to waste. If you are wanting to pick up some of those things that you put down perhaps before your husband even died. You may have been pursuing a higher level degree. You may be called to entrepreneurship. You may be called to ministry. You may want to create your own community to encourage and to uplift other women who have gone through grief and trauma. So if that is you, which is, I know it's a large amount of you all, if you're called to me, because I know that the women that are truly called to me, they are high achieving women that have been knocked down by life, but they have the desire and the will to get back up and to keep pushing forward. But they not only need help, but they want help, and they're willing to get it and willing to invest in it. And I'm saying this from the perspective of myself, who I consider to be a high achieving woman who was knocked down by life. However, even within the past 5 years, I have invested in myself with counseling, with coaching, paying to be able to learn what I did not know and to get the help that I needed, but also wanted. So allow for this to be a message of motivation, a message of encouragement, but more importantly, a message to make you move your feet and take the first step to transition from simply existing to beginning to live again. I pray this blessed you. I look forward to speaking with those of you who know that I am your coach and your counselor, and I will speak to the rest of you on the next broadcast. Peace and blessings.